So first question comes from FoxyCraft25, and they ask, how many barn finds will there be?
We aren't ready to confirm the full amount of barn finds yet. More than 10, we'll go with. More than 10.
Okay, I'll go with that. Also, can I drive, by the way? I've sat here long enough. Can I? Let me switch
turn it on.
this
I think it should just connect. Let's
use the fun one. Am I in? Am I in? It's not moving, Mike. Do I need to sync it?
I don't know.
No? Is this all a setup? I've been wanting to play this game for so long. And live on camera, I can't...
I was driving with that controller like 10 minutes ago.
It's not going anywhere.
There you go, use that one. It's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, okay. We'll all sanitise afterwards, don't worry, everyone. And while I'm driving, I get to ask fun questions. So the next question comes from NerdZ35, and they say, being a massive fan of the route creator in Forza Horizon 4, I've got to do both now, and I'm completely excited for Event Lab, I was wondering if there's a connection between the two.
God, read and drive, Charlie. You signed up for this, you wanted it.
I know.
Yes, there is a connection between the route creator. So the route creator comes across, is now augmented with all those really cool tools and functionality that we added with the Horizon Super 7. So all that prop placement and route building stuff that we added in Super 7 is now part of the route creator. You can get in there and build your own routes. And that falls into that larger umbrella of the Event Lab. So as well as building all your own routes and building all that stuff out, you can also customize the rules of those events as well. So you can decide what the win conditions are, how people earn points in your event, what makes messages come up on screen, what makes sound effects play, all that stuff.
Oh God, I've done very me, and I'm not staying on the road very well. Okay, next question comes from Elf Romeo 53, and they ask, what's the process like for creating clothing items in a Horizon game? And thankfully for you, we literally have Pav in the room who can answer that better than anyone else. So Pav, what is that process?
So for the clothing, we like after it's chosen, we use a program called Marvelous Designer, which lets us make clothes more similar to how we do in real life. So we cut out like 2D patterns of clothing, and then this program will stitch them together and simulate the folds.
Okay, that must be really interesting, as you say, because there's so many different types of T-shirts and stuff. To use that as an example, you mentioned earlier in the stream, so there must be so many details in there you have to go through.
Yeah, it's like a different way of thinking as well to what we used to do, which is just sculpting the folds ourselves.
Wonderful, love it. Oh, I've missed my turn-in, right? That's because I was thinking about the next question. No, I'm following the route. You put a route down. The next question comes from Black Hat Gaming, and they ask, will the car collection feature be integrated into the auto show, or will it just be two separate features?
They are related features, so I think it's more the other way. So the auto show kind of exists as it is, but if you're in the car collection, there is the option to quick buy any cars that are in there, so you can just quickly add them to your garage, so you can complete those little corners of your car collection.
Wonderful, love that. Next question is comes from a very good name, which is Hamburgini, and they ask, do Horizon stories feature new or returning characters? So I think we mentioned that before, but in case anyone's just joined the stream, Kelly, is there new or returning characters in stories?
Yes, so as we mentioned, V10 has Mike Steele, Frankie Beaumont, and Borfast will have Jamin returning.
Wonderful, big fan already. Next one comes from Scrappy Dingo, and they ask, are there any new activities in the festival playlist or exciting ones that have changed? We did speak about I think there was one just before we left, actually, that Mike, you hovered over. There was a treasure feature or something?
Yes, so we've got loads of content to do, all the new features are in there, all your favourites are returning, but the biggest change is going to be Evolving World, like seeing the world change every series, seeing new things appear in races, new collectibles around the world. So yeah, so much to do.
Oh, I can't wait.
One of the things I'm really excited about as well is that, as we talked about Event Lab earlier on the show, as people are creating awesome things in Event Lab, we can actually surface them on festival playlists so that your awesome creations then appear for everybody else.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
There's something similar to that in Super 7, right?
Super 7 is similar, yeah. So Super 7 was kind of a gauntlet of stuff that people have made. This time, for a festival playlist, it'll be, we'll find those really brilliant things people have created and choose to put them in front of everybody as a little jewel in the festival playlist.
And I know the Forza community well. I know a lot of them make a wonderful array of things, so I can't wait to see what's selected. Next question is from ReverX27, and they say, soundtrack reveal when? I love the simplicity of that, but soundtrack reveal when?
It wasn't a simple gamer tag to say, though, was it?
No, it was not.
Way too many consonants. I think we'll have more to talk about the soundtrack in 2 weeks on the next Let's Go stream. Yes. Okay. So 2 weeks' time.
Big fan of that one. Okay, come back in 2 weeks, everyone. Next question is from Dylan Green, and they ask, in regards to music, another music question, will there be a streamer mode like there was in Forza Horizon 4?
Dylan Green, much easier name to say than that previous guy.
Is it an easier answer, though?
Yes, there is a
Yeah,
streamer
yeah.
mode in Forza Horizon 5. It has more music in it as well this time than previous.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, love that. Next question comes from Royal Ryan, who says, has the smoke from drifting improved? Which, by the way, I love that these are the questions people ask, because there's like a level of like passion that is innate underneath that question that they would know the difference. I love it.
Yes, so we actually have an entirely new VFX system in this game, which you'll have seen all over. We've talked about loads of examples of it, loads. No, that was excellent, Charlie.
You saw a bit of drift smoke come up there.
So the smoke now is not high resolution, it's more voluminous. It also interacts with tyre temperature more than it ever did before. So if you're playing in summer, it's hot weather, you get your tyres nice and hot and you throw it into a big drift, you'll kick up loads of smoke. If you're playing in winter or you're in the snow, because the tyres are cold and they can't really heat up, you will produce much less smoke. So yeah, there's a real dynamism to it as well now. Yeah.
Wonderful. And the last question, well done everyone, we're there. The last question comes from Noodle Dance 12, and they ask, how does the player having a voice affect the overall experience? We touched on this a little bit at the start, but I suppose let's unpack it a bit more, shall we?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I really love this question, by the way. So regular players of Forza Horizon will probably know that the character has never spoken before. It's kind of been that silent protagonist, that Gordon Freeman type deal, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It allows you to project yourself onto the character more easily, or so they say. It creates a massive challenge when you're creating the other characters that have to interact with them, because those characters really just come off as really overbearing, because nobody ever has any interaction with anybody in which only one person speaks.
Sure, yeah.
And sometimes they would ask a question and then just kind of like assume the answer and then carry on. A bit like Dora the Explorer when she's like talking through the screen to you, going, yep, and then carries on. And it made writing fun, interesting, realistic characters very, very challenging. So the purpose for it is to allow you not to be this really over-the-top, characterful caricature.
Yeah, you don't want to go hard straight off the bat, do you? There's suddenly this larger-than-life being.
But to allow you to interact with the other characters in a more realistic way and bring the character out of them. We saw a bit of it in the expedition on one of the previous streams, where the player character asks some questions of Ramiro, and the reason they're doing that is to really facilitate Ramiro coming in a way that feels really natural, really like he's your friend, and not like he's just really overbearing and just shouting down the microphone at you. So the real purpose of it is to allow everybody else, all the other characters that you meet in the game, to be that much more authentic and real and sound like real people.
I love it. So is this, I mean, I'm curious, is this something that you knew you wanted to do going into 5? Or was it like, is it a learning you had from 4 where you're like, God, I wish they could talk actually in the end, that would have been great? Or is it something you just developed as you went?
It's something I've always been quite close to the characters and scripts of the Horizon games, and so I've always been quite close to that problem of making the characters seem realistic and seem likable when the person they're talking to never answers back.
Sure.
Which I can tell you it's a real difficult thing to get right, to have them seem like really nice, likable people like you would meet at a festival, when you can't just go, yep, okay, got it, yep, I'll go do that, no problem.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the role of the player, to just go, okay, you've given me the objective, I'll go and do that. But by giving that player the voice, it's really opened up all those other characters to be that much more interesting and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly something that we wanted to kind of experiment with at the start, and I think it was actually in Horizon Stories where we played around with it first. And yeah, it was clearly making all of our other characters just that much more engaging and interesting, and so we...
The game just flourished around it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. I love that. I got really distracted by a Jeep then. If you know, you know. But at this point, I feel like I should probably put the controller down, because otherwise I